All right, bear with me. I have no tripod. This is raw and real, but I'm at my secret location, a spot where I kind of hide away during these dodgy times when I know there's going to be some crappy weather and the hunting season is still, in full swing. It's tapering off, though, thank goodness. Pretty soon I'll have the woods to myself, as I mentioned in another video. But I'm in the process of setting up my camp right now. And these are things that I've actually left here before for the last couple of years. And I set up this here, and that's what I drape my tarp over. Because a tent alone, oh boy, that's not fun. I want to have that tarp over the tent like an awning. Have that distance, several inches between the top of my tent and the tarp. And then I can, you can really breathe in there and you don't get those wet, damp, sweaty walls and stuff. So here we go. I left it here a couple years ago. Well, actually 6 months ago I used it. Or around 6 months. But it's been here for a couple of years. So you see these two branches? I put them like that, an X, and then I put this cross beam. And I put it there. Wasn't exactly high enough to my satisfaction, so I put this little branch underneath it. And then I've been gathering these white pine needles. See all those white pine needles? Been kind of scraping them together in order to make sure that everything's cool. There's no, it's swampy over this area. That direction's pretty swampy. But white pine has got really good root networks. This can handle a lot of rain, but as long as it's not like tons of ice and rain all at once kind of melting and bad weather like that, this will kind of flood out. But it's good for a while. So here's what I first do. Make sure that I know how I'm going to lie at night. So yeah. Got my bedroll here. That's my tripod. Sometimes when I know I'm going to be using the tarp soon, when I'm breaking it down, I'll just leave all the ropes that tie to the anchors that I tie off at little anchors. Like years ago, I've camped here many times. You see that log right there? That's what I'm going to tie this corner of my tarp off, and it'll anchor down there. And that log, that's going to get that corner. And then each of these corners is going to have an anchor. And then, I like to have a peak that I kind of tie off, but that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to set this tarp up, which already has the ropes, and I'm going to have to spend a little time kind of untangling and making sure everything's straight. And then I'm going to drape it over that runner beam. And then I'm going to just start tying it off to anchors. And I'm going to stay here through tomorrow. I'll be okay. I got a gas station that's like in Pennsylvania, they got Sheetz gas stations. And I'm about a mile away from there. If I want to tonight, it's still going to be good weather. I can charge my phone there, get back here, before I go to bed. It's supposed to start raining around like 9 o'clock tomorrow, and it's supposed to be kind of like a steady soaker. It's going to be in the 50s. So I don't want to be sitting in it. If, it would surprise me, but if it came down really hard or something like that, I doubt if it will, but the bottom of it. I have cardboard too, by the way. This cardboard I stashed in a certain location. It's been there for a couple of years, but it's still there. I even still got a jug of water. You know, I bring water to these places, like right here. See that? Jug of water. I got another jug of water over here too, about I don't know, 100 feet away. But yeah, so once I get this set up, I'm gonna put the cardboard in. I'll probably prop this, because it's such a tiny tent. I gotta lay at an angle. It's like a kid-sized tent. So I'm gonna take my my backpack here, and I'm gonna drape this. Excellent. I love this. It's a small, almost has no weight to it, little tarp, and I'm going to prop this up against some tree or something like that, and then just drape that over it, and it'll be fine. Yeah. All right. Well, I got to be a tad careful. Believe me, there's actually people working not too far from here. And it's amazing. Nothing's ever changed. I mean, I've been coming here since certainly 2022, I think it's been, since I've found this little spot. And everything's going good. I had a really lovely walk down the railroad tracks, and oh boy, I just soaked it in. It was so nice. And had a beautiful conversation that I actually did record, but you know what? I just said, you know, that's just between God and myself. You know what I mean? But this is for the world. You know, this is what we do. You know, somebody like myself. I don't know where all this is leading. I would like to see that happen. I believe that the tapestry is unfolding, and I believe someday the penny's going to drop and everything's going to come full circle. No road. Back in my real territory, my real stealth camp stomping grounds. There is a little place here where people work. It's like a little factory, but they'll be gone before too long. I got to be a little quiet until they go. There's not a lot of tree cover like there is in the spring and summer and stuff, you know. But it's not so in the woods where I got to worry about bear and anything too wild. 1 in a million chance. And it's not so deep in the woods to where I can't walk away at nighttime and then just walk back and forth. I'll talk to myself, like kind of mull some thoughts over and kind of speak a little, you know, out loud. I'm not like answering myself so much, but I mull things over. Sometimes for an hour and a half will go by. I look up at the clouds, I look up at the sky. I try to, you know, really reconcile a spirituality that really can't be defined or demonstrated in this, you know, to correspond to anything in reality. You know, how can I reconcile that? How much of our personality is our own human construct? How much of it's just supported by our bodies, which is like a bunch of crystallized dense energy, you know, produces and supports a consciousness. You know, how much of that is really real, and how much of it's just a defense mechanism built into the system? How much is going to survive at the death of the body? What will survive at the death of the body, and is there any real purpose? How much peace can I find? How can I reconcile that kind of a spirituality? What is this amazing, miraculous, and beautiful spiritual energy, this field of energy that is always in a process of manifesting? I mean, it's manifested as this, and that's where it's at in the process. And we have manifested as this crystallized solid matter. But it's all a never-ending process, and it'll probably just go forever. I mean, there's part of us that it does matter, I think. I think our identities, that might be a totally different story. That might just be supported by consciousness, which is created by these, you know, and by these bodies, crystallized dense energy. I don't know. It's just an interesting, it's getting kind of up there in my, you know. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of hang out and mull those kind of thoughts over. I love that little light. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I feel better. But I know this weather isn't going to last. I'm telling you, this weather is so amazing. I'm totally like soaking it in. This is like January the 8th, and I've just gone through hell with weather, and even um, deliberately kind of testing my own spirituality that I accepted as my reality and so forth. And it's put put me into a position where I definitely am finding peace in something far more universal than I was able to ever catch a glimpse of in my younger years. Anyway, over and out for now. Wishing you all well. Sending love. There we go. The pineal gland.